Hi guys, and welcome to my review of the latest episode of Raw. Before we start, just to make a little bit of an obligatory plug, if I may. I'm trying to get another YouTube channel off the ground at Wellness Roads. This was basically a vlog that I had started up, essentially following my health and fitness because I was have become just much more important to me since becoming a father, and trying to basically get that off the ground. Basically what I'll be doing is from next week I'll be moving my wrestling and sports entertainment reviews over to that channel as well. I'm hoping that this will basically just allow me to talk to you guys more, have a more varied selection of wrestling content here, where basically I won't be just talking about Raw or SmackDown, but hopefully NXT as well, AEW as well, from some sprinklings of other sports entertainment like football here or soccer for American friends. If you're into your sports, if you're into your fitness, or you just want to continue watching these reviews, is I'd really appreciate it if you just pop over to my other YouTube channel, Wellness Roads. I'll include a link in the comments here, to make it super easy for you guys. If you guys did that, I would super appreciate it, because like I said, it's a channel that basically just trying to get up off the ground. Your continued support would just mean the world to me. With all that being said, let's get on with what you guys came here to see. This episode of Raw kicked off with Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman essentially addressing Obafemi and calling him out. We basically had this inevitably led to Obafemi and Brock Lesnar having their face off, which essentially just ended up being a little bit of a cut and paste of what we had before. We basically had Brock Lesnar get a little bit more of an offense here, where he basically got Obafemi up for the F5, and then we had Oba wrestle out of it, and then basically throw him to the outside, which again was just beautifully sold by Brock Lesnar here. So that's kind of like 2 for 2 for Obafemi as we continue this road to WrestleMania. As much as I love this, as much as over I am with Obafemi, I do feel like that Brock Lesnar has to at least get one over him, because I do think that, and I know that this is turned into a bit of a general consensus, I do feel like Obafemi needs to win at WrestleMania, and I feel like that it's one of those where I don't think that people there's matches where you basically could turn around and you could go, well, I would have preferred it if they won and stuff like that. Sometimes it can come down to personal preference, but here I feel like it absolutely has to be that Obafemi has to win here. But on the road to that, I think you need to kind of at least kind of give Brock Lesnar something to get to kind of like make that feel like something. To fully really get Obafemi over, I think he needs to kind of like experience some real fight back here. I liked it. It did everything that it needed to. So we basically had we moved on to the tag team match between the Usos and the Vision. This had basically ended up in the DQ after Jey Uso basically got hold of a brass knuckles. He introduced by Logan Paul. Paul, he had essentially right in full view of a referee, he had hit Austin Theory, causing the DQ. He then goes back into the ring and hits Logan Paul. So we basically caused the DQ. We had teased a little bit of more of a like kind of like Jey Uso heel turn here, which I thought was interesting. I was saying in my SmackDown review, which was absolutely full of DQs and interventions, and I absolutely hated it. So, but yeah, here I thought it was okay. You know, I thought when we basically had Jey Uso do his turn and hit Austin Theory with the brass knuckles, I thought, that's interesting, that's new, that's fresh. So and it does all tie into some of the stuff that we have later on. So we had then moved on to a promo with between Becky Lynch and AJ Lee. I thought that this was a pretty solid promo by the two. I think that AJ Lee's character essentially ended up being more straight here. There was less of that kind of like millennial character humor that we kind of got with her character. It was basically more straight here. We had basically Javon Evans taking on Grayson Waller in this match, which I thought was a fire match. I thought it was better than I was anticipating. But I think it does go to show that I think it does go to remind us of what workers like Grayson Waller can do when they are given the opportunity. Unfortunately, they're not given enough opportunity. I think that's being kind of like I feel like the New Day got cursed by Danhausen, but it feels like the New Day had been cursed long before Danhausen got onto the scene, because it just feels like since they turned heel, that WWE just hasn't known what to do with them, and they've got a lot of fun out of the New Day. I thought that they are really funny, and as long as I'm enjoying it, maybe I shouldn't be complaining. But yeah, I just feel like because we know what Kofi Kingston can do, and the New Day can do. We just, I feel like that should be just being utilised a lot better here. So, but yeah, solid match. I don't think I was expecting Javon Evans to lose here, which he didn't. But yeah, solid match. We had Javon Evans picking up a win with a Hurricane Rana off the top rope, and then following it up with an OG cutter. Just real solid back and forth match. Real great in ring ability. So just really like. We then basically had Paul Heyman coming out, who essentially started calling out Seth Rollins, basically saying that he was all alone, because basically Logan Paul and Austin Theory had obviously been hit by the brass knuckles earlier in their match against the Usos, so they were off getting medical attention. Apparently Brock Lesnar was so pissed off after being invested by Obafemi again, that he had just totally left the building. So he was all on his own. So he essentially said called out Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins basically came out basically and stood on the announce table dressed as one of the masked men. I think we can leave it now. Like, Seth Rollins is still kind of coming out basically wearing this mask, and then just basically ripping it off as if this is his first return. So yeah, I think we can leave a little bit here. And then basically the police come out, and basically we basically have Paul Heyman laughing like the cat that got the cream, and he basically is essentially saying that he's basically filed this restraining order against Seth Rollins. So now he's now within 50 feet of him. So Seth Rollins is now being arrested, which isn't how which I'm pretty sure isn't how restraining orders work. Otherwise, like, I'm pretty sure that whoever the restraining order is being put on, I think they have to be informed that they're under a restraining order. Otherwise, what's stopping you going to your local supermarket and just having somebody like turn around and go, "Excuse me, I put a restraining order on you." Like, so so basically the police are like leading Seth Rollins away. Paul Heyman is just acting absolutely like despicable. He's basically saying that now he's been arrested, Seth Rollins is going to be a felony. That means his wife is going to divorce him. She's going to be become the wife of a locker room. His kid will have to be put in care, but don't worry, because Paul Heyman will be the guy to adopt the kid. Seth Rollins basically runs back to the ring, hits Paul Heyman. Basically we have before the police are taking him away again. Obviously, on this sort of like a restraining order ruse, Paul Heyman has basically gone on live telly and basically really gone and like actually invited Seth Rollins out and gone really to poke a bear. So I'm pretty sure that in the name of fairness, the police will be having a word with Paul Heyman as well, and basically telling him that if he doesn't want Seth Rollins within 50 feet of him, don't poke a bear and don't invite him out to you. So basically like, help us help you. So I'm sure the police had been relaying that back to Paul Heyman as well. So moving on, we had the Kabuki Warriors here as well. They had a match against Bayley and Lyra Valkyria. Again, another really solid match. Played through. We had Bayley and Lyra Valkyria picking up a win, which was nice to see, because they seemed to be a bit directionless, at least. So that was nice. We then basically had Bayley and Lyra Valkyria calling out the Lash legend and Nia Jax. So they basically got a match. But what I thought was really funny was Bayley had basically said that that they were going to take on that they wanted Lash Legend and Nia Jax next week at Madison Square Gardens, which she described as something like the greatest arena in the world. This was booed by the crowd, and Bayley went, "Hang on a minute, hang on. But we're going to beat Lash Legend and Nia Jax for the title there." And thank God for Bayley, the crowd did cheer, because how awkward would it have been if the crowd hadn't? I think that was quite a big risk by Bayley for quite such a little reward. I'm just happy for Bayley. But the crowd basically did what she wanted them to do, because that could have been awkward. So basically we had a backstage segment then between Speed and Danhausen. Danhausen basically put a curse on Speed, and after Danhausen had proposed that Speed basically give him his passwords, and then they basically can essentially split the profits, and yeah, so and Speed just sold this. Speed, I think everyone in WWE, even the celebrity ones, just know exactly how to sell the curse right now. He just absolutely sold this, and I just thought, yeah, it was just so goofy, and it just, yeah, like I said, like all the Danhausen segments, it's just been really goofy, really funny, and yeah, I just enjoy it. I know it's not going to be everybody's cup of tea, but yeah, I really enjoyed this. So we then had the match between Dominic Mysterio having his rematch for the Intercontinental title against Penta. Dominic Mysterio was initially accompanied by Liv Morgan, but then Stephanie Valkyrie came out and Liv attacked Liv Morgan. They ended up going backstage, brawling, and it's interesting about this because through this brawl, Liv Morgan and Stephanie Valkyrie in this feud only got for something like about 15-20 seconds, whatever it was. But yet it created so much more spice than the Rhea Ripley and Jade Cargill feud over on SmackDown. Although the Jade Cargill and Rhea Ripley stuff is getting a lot more screen time, I think that Stephanie Valkyrie and Liv Morgan are doing a lot more with much less screen time, and Stephanie Valkyrie and Liv Morgan is the match at WrestleMania that I'm actually more pumped about seeing. So yeah, I thought, so yeah, basically we then had JD McDonough stepping in Liv Morgan's place, so we basically had another really solid match between Dominic Mysterio and Penta. We eventually got to the obligatory bit where we had JD McDonough basically just causing all the distractions, all the mentions, and we knew that this was going to be the cue for Finn Balor to come out, which he did. Finn Balor basically ended up taking out both Dominic Mysterio and JD McDonough, yeah, so we basically and then we essentially ended on as we've all been ending for the last few weeks, where we've basically been ended on this promo building the feud between CM Punk and Roman Reigns up. Here we basically had Jey Uso coming out to meet CM Punk. He was basically essentially had Jey Uso had basically continued to kind of like go on the offensive with CM Punk, telling him to stop running his mouth about his family and everything. Jimmy Uso comes out to basically try and talk his brother down and go, look, Jay, I'm kind of like, I understand we're like a lot of where you're coming from, but when you get like this, you don't think straight. You demonstrated that before in that tag team match where you caused the DQ, and now we gotta defend the titles next week against the Vision, which I am expecting the Vision to win, and this will be just the next domino in what we're doing with Jey Uso here. So then we had Roman Reigns coming out. And yeah, like I said, I just felt like we then basically ended up as this promo was going on. We essentially had Roman Reigns almost kind of like sucker and punching him, CM Punk, and we basically had then that Jey Uso kind of like turning into Mrs. Voorhees from Friday the 13th here, where he was basically just on the side going, get him, do it, Roman, get him, and it was basically just like, Yeah, it was kind of like interesting that basically it was Roman attacking CM Punk, kind of like on Jay's like command here, and I thought that this was interesting. So yeah, I really loved this. I really like I said, I enjoyed the work that CM Punk and Roman Reigns have done to build this feud. But yeah, I think that inserting the Usos into this has just added so much more spice, so much more intrigue. I think that it's sort of becoming clear that they are wanting fans to start questioning whether the Bloodline are going to reunite at WrestleMania because of that. I personally am not a big fan of that idea. And yeah, so but yeah, I think it's intriguing also, but also, you know, you've got all these other angles to it where you've got this potential Jey Uso heel turn, and then you kind of like ask if that happens, you know, how does Jimmy fit into that? How does Roman fit into all of that? You know, do they start building Jey Uso to be a next like tribal chief? If you know all of that stuff, like there's so much more stuff. So we basically got all that, and right at the center of this, we still got this feud between CM Punk and Roman Reigns, who I still have no idea who's going to win it. I flip of a coin which direction they're going to go. So there's so much intrigue in the way that they're orchestrating this feud. So yeah, guys, that pretty much wraps it up. So on the whole, guys, I thought that this was a really solid episode of Raw, I have to say. I do hear that apparently throughout this entire episode of Raw there was only about 35 minutes of actual wrestling in this match, in this episode, which was quite shocking. It didn't really feel like I think that's a credit to all the promos and the character work and the build to WrestleMania that's kind of going on outside of us, which is obviously every bit as intriguing as the actual matches sometimes. And yeah, so I'm not going to complain about that. Like I said, I enjoyed this episode of Raw, and as long as I'm enjoying it, then that's enough for me. Yeah, I thought that this was a really solid episode of Raw, to be honest with you. Everything kind of clicked, everything kind of made sense. It seemed to be very focused on its road to WrestleMania. Do have to give one big problem here though, and it has been something that has been brought up, that this episode of Raw did represent the third time in a row where Gunther did not appear. And I do think that is a problem. I do think that is one thumbs down that I do have to give it. Because yeah, I mean, you know, maybe there had been talk like Gunther was originally maybe going to face Rey Mysterio at WrestleMania. Then obviously Rey Mysterio got injured, so that along with all their plans with the Vision and everything that had all got kind of thrown out. You know, I understand that WWE just had some real bad luck as they move towards WrestleMania. I understand that. But they need to do, surely you think they need to do something. Like this episode of Raw took place in Boston. It took place in like Cena country. So it was totally, you know, it would have made total sense for Gunther to come out here, even if he had just come out and done his usual stick of, you know, I made Cena tap out like a little bitch and just to get that heat. You know, something like I don't think it. I think it's incomprehensible that you know the guy that retired John Cena and the guy that we more recently saw retire AJ Styles is now just not going to be involved in WrestleMania or the build at all. Like I just think that is such a glaring issue. I really do. So yeah, I do have to give it a thumbs down. Some commentators had brought this up before this episode of the Raw. I didn't really mind it until this episode. I think now it's sort of, because especially seeing as it seems like such a short time now, but now until we got WrestleMania. Yeah, I do have to give thumbs down for that element. But that aside, yeah, I think everything else that they did do on this episode clicked okay. So yeah, I will still give it a thumbs up in regardless. But yeah, so yeah, that pretty much concludes it. So yeah, thank you guys for taking the time to watch this video. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more, don't forget to ring a bell for notifications. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Please feel free to let me know down in the comment section what you thought of this episode of Raw, what your own little fun theories are going forward as we move towards WrestleMania. All of our fun geeky stuff, let me know down in the comment section. And yeah, like I said, I will leave a link in the comment section to my other YouTube channel, where you can basically continue seeing these wrestling reviews, as well as SmackDown reviews, NXT reviews, potentially AEW reviews as well. You know, all of that stuff. Yeah, I'll leave a link down in the comment section for that. Also, will be of benefit to you guys, obviously, if you're interested in just your health, your fitness, and you know. So yeah, I'll leave a link in the comment section. Yeah, thank you guys for your continued support, and I'll see you guys on the next video. You guys take care.